Alrighty, this is going to be a bit of a longer one. Let's talk about the Rum Rebellion. Firstly, just a couple of little housekeeping things here. You will see me referring to some fucking notes on this one because there's just a fair bit going on this one. A few funny moments and just a few names that I might forget. And secondly, in my hand, it's not a dark rum that I have in my hand. Now, the reason for that is actually because this took place in the colony of New South Wales in the early 1800s. So 1808 is when the coup actually happened. And rum itself, as we know it, wasn't actually distilled in Australia until the early 1880s. And it was actually Beenleigh was actually the first location to do that. So no, it wasn't Bundaberg rum either. And even they distilled both dark and light rums. Now, the thing is with it, right, is so rum at the time was imported. You did get it on boats coming into Australia, into the New South Wales colony, but a lot of it was actually, white rum, not the dark rum that we have and know and love as Australians. So, I'm going to go, bit of a reflux there. But anyway, a lot of the spirits that were being drunk were actually, like grain spirits and stuff like that. So like more akin to like a vodka or a moonshine, right? Just simple shit to make, right? And things that actually, could be at the time like farmed and like grown in that area. Because again, New South Wales, like we're talking about like the Hawkesbury region and like Sydney region. We're not talking about Queensland at all, or even the northern parts of New South Wales that we know of today. Anyway, so the military sort of detachment in the colony at the time was the 7th Regiment of Foot, also known as the New South Wales Corps. They were led by a Major George Johnson. And him and his, rich fucking businessman civilian mate by the name of John MacArthur kind of had a control over the spirit trade in the New South Wales colony at the time because we were a barter economy in this country back then. We, weren't really using the British pound or anything like that. And because it was a barter economy, the main sort of currency, naturally rotated to spirits because they're a measurable thing, right? Like, and most people loved a good drink as well, right? And as well, it had other applications apart from getting shit-faced on it. Now, a lot of the farmers and like traders and things like that weren't actually too happy with this. They just they dealt with it, but they weren't too happy about it. Because again, like the civilian, rich businessman was basically making sure him and his mates got their slice of any trade that's precipitated with rum. Again, rum being a colloquial term at the time, like anyone just called spirits rum, and the posh cunts called it spirits. And he had the backing of his army mate. Said rum way too many times already. Oh. And so England, a little bit curious with the situation, decided to appoint a man by the name of William Blair as the governor. And William Blair is a bit of a funny one as well, because some people will try and paint him as the good guy in the story, but nah, he was a bit of a cunt too, bit of a dodgy cunt too. But anyway, he actually earned a decent reputation in Britain at the time because of a mutiny that occurred on the ship under his command by the name of the HMS Bounty. And he actually wrestled back control of his ship. Again, like, earned him a bit of respect for that. So fucking everyone kind of knew him as a bit of a hard bloke, a bit of a hard cunt, right? And so he was appointed governor. He set sail from England with his daughter and her husband. So her name was Mary Putland, and her husband's name, who was also a naval officer, his name was John Putland. Now, they set sail, and his wife actually stayed in England. And now, even though he has been appointed governor of the colony, the actual convoy that they were sailing under wasn't given to him to command. He was given command of a transport ship, and the convoy, led by the HMS Purpoise, like a little schooner vessel, was given command. I think his name was Captain Joseph Short. Now he didn't really like this much. He's like, oh, I'm the governor of the the colony, and they won't even give me the power of control over the convoy, and so this created a bit of animosity between the pair, to the point where he just straight up was ignoring Captain Short's directions and stuff like that. Another drink break. And yeah, so this animosity ended up coming to a head midway through the voyage, or like towards the end of the voyage there. Bligh just wasn't following his directions and his signals and stuff like that, and so he actually decided to fire. Captain Short decided to fire a couple of shots across his bow to be like, pull your head in, cunt. He still ignored him, and he then actually did it again, and fucking Bligh still ignored him, and then he went and actually ordered a bloke under his command, Jonathan Putland, to go and seize the transport ship. And well, obviously he's going to be like, oh, mate, I'm fucking his daughter. I'm not doing it, mate. I'm not fucking doing it. And anyway, when they actually do arrive in the colony of New South Wales, they very quickly fucking ship Captain Short back under, to go back for court-martial. And fucking... And some people will be like, oh, rightfully so. But it's like, no, he was the one given command of the fucking convoy. And fucking old mate Bligh had to be a fucking tosser about it. He was like, pull your head in, cunt. But anyway, he pulled some strings back in England, made sure he had the fucking book thrown at him. Even though there were a couple of people back in England that actually came to his defence and, raised some serious accusations as to Bligh's conduct during the voyage. Obviously, nothing had arose of it. But anyway, so he gets here and he's immediately greeted by Major George Johnson and welcomed in open arms. The judge advocate at the time, a bloke by the name of Atkins, again, notes here, I gotta what's his fucking first name? Yeah, Richard Atkins, so fucking Dick Atkins, right? Now, the judge advocate, he wasn't a lawyer in his background or anything like that. He was a pisshead, because he was in that same circle. And fuck it. Here's a Hattie for good measure. I pissed myself. And he represented the civilians in this regard, and he was also welcomed on behalf of, the traders and stuff like that by John MacArthur. Welcomed in open arms. They're thinking, oh, this posh cunt, we'll get him into our circle, give him a slice of the pie, and he'll be happy. However, he was not. One of the, things he did, one of the first things he did was actually, straight up just abolish the trade of spirits as the currency under the barter economy. So you couldn't use spirits as the currency of trade. And the second thing he did was, crack down on the military corps that were, and their actual involvement in this. And then thirdly, because there's the only real way he could actually go at, John MacArthur, was to turn around and get the grain stores and everything that they brought with it, and instead of having it, given to the traders to then be, dispersed and put money back in the coffers, he actually directly handed it out to, the people that needed it, the communities and stuff that needed it most. That last part is probably, probably one of the better parts of that. Things like that is what people will use to sort of paint him as a good guy. However, his motives behind it weren't altruistic or anything like that. He was being a cunt to MacArthur. And mind you, no one in this story is the good guy. They're all bad guys. But anyway, so, and then immediately after that, after the dust had settled from all of that, he then decided that, with all the crown land and things like that, he was going to carve it up and he didn't give it to a lot of the wealthier folks. He only gave a little bit away. It was the least amount given out of like crown land given to people occurred during his, couple of years reign as governor. And there's like half of that was actually given to himself and his daughter. Yes, you heard that correctly. Half of it was given to him and his daughter. He gave it to himself, right? This whole fucking, drinking between fucking jets thing is gonna fuck me. Like, ugh. Oh, fuck. And this is also where things start to turn on him. The farmers were happy with him at first, but now they're like, And anyway, fucking, and as well, at around this time as well, he also got a letter of complaint arrive in his office from the previous arrival. The welcoming that he got, a lot of the settlers and stuff like that got together and wrote a petition of complaint in regards to Richard Atkins and John MacArthur, saying that they don't actually represent us. Because they were just the posh cunts that fucking in that little circle that said that they represented. They weren't elected or anything like that. They were just cunts. And so at this point, fucking Atkins, MacArthur, and Johnson, they've all worked out that Bligh isn't our guy. He's not going to play ball. And so they decided, by 1807, they decided they were going to fucking take the government house. They'd already decided it. Another drink cut. Oh, that one went down a bit rough, didn't it? And so, yeah, there was a couple of points as well, leading up to this that were just, yeah. So MacArthur and Bligh did not get along at all. He had a bunch of town planning stuff he wanted to do, and that impacted MacArthur's land that he owned. And Bligh was, like, come on, man, you've got more fucking land than anybody else in this colony. What the fuck are you doing? But yeah, no, he just dug his heels in. And then there was a moment where a convict stowed away on a ship that fucking, and, he was one of those that sort of actually, MacArthur was one of those that actually helped him get onto this fucking ship. And he also didn't like that the bond that the ship had paid, like the bond that they had paid to the dock and whatnot, was forfeited because they had knowingly allowed this convict to stow away on the vessel. And then, yeah, eventually, Bligh got Atkins to request MacArthur actually attend court on the matter, and this is where everything starts to collapse. I suppose I better pour one during this jet break, just so you can actually see what I'm drinking, like what mixture I'm drinking. So, Bacardi, white rum, not my first choice, it's just all they have at the bottle mart, but yeah. So, you get a good fucking glug 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 of that. You get the smallest little splash of the H2O to dilute it that little bit. I mean, fucking hell, I wouldn't be able to still talk if I didn't. Just a little splash. And then, the old lemon fucking concentrate stuff. That old lemon juice. I know it's meant for cooking. But fucking shut up, alright? Yeah. Squirt that in there and it gives it that nice little cloudy sort of colour you're seeing. And look, I will admit, I'm cheating a little bit because in between each one I am getting it down to a decent level before I do the full gulp, but there you go. This video is not sponsored by Bacardi. Fucking no one's watching this shit for that. And yeah, so by this point in the story, fucking Atkins himself, he'd kind of switched sides. Like, he wasn't, he was thinking he could see which way the wind was blowing with Bligh, and he decided to, like, put himself right on side with Bligh, because fucking, yeah, and as well, Atkins was a fucking bit of a pisshead too, like, he was, yeah, but yeah, fucking, and yeah, all this came to a head when fucking, he, again, like, he's fucking accused 6 of Johnson's soldiers of, what amounted to mutiny at the time, and asked Johnson to come down and deal with the matter, and, Johnson pulled the old sickie.
Here's one for our fucking defence force, you fucking legends.
And so, yeah, he's pulled a fucking sickie. And, yeah, he's put out, fucking Bly's again put out a fucking, warrant for fucking MacArthur's arrest, to no avail. And the response he got back was, from the soldiers and things like that about it was, no, we want a new judge advocate. That was the reply that he got. And fucking by this point, fucking, he wasn't going to do that because it, gotten Atkins on side with him. Enough was enough. He turned around and fucking got himself arrested by the military court at fucking Government House there, one early morning in January in 1808. And it was Major George Johnson that decided to appoint himself as governor from that point onwards. He was put under, Bligh was put under house arrest, and fucking then he was locked up first and then put under house arrest. And while he was on a house arrest, he actually fucking then was transported onto a ship because he was like, nope, you're going back to England. That was what they were going to do with him. But instead of going to England, he turned the boat around and went down to Van Diemen's Land, or Tasmania at the time. And he went to go and dock near what is now Launceston, because one of his mates, a general bloke down there, was actually making that settlement. And he didn't really, he thought maybe he'd help me, and he didn't. He just flat out refused to even let him actually fucking dock and whatnot. And so like, nah, fuck off, pretty much. And so he sat out there for fucking, quite a while, like months on end, fucking basically marooned on a boat. One thing I am going to point out, fucking, with filming of this video is, do you know how hard it is to fucking have 2 different fucking duct tape markings for fucking drinking fucking shots and fucking talking shots? Like, I mean, fucking, this is to that cunt that fucking critiqued my inability to fucking edit and shit and was like, oh, you should get a better microphone, you should fucking edit shit, this, that, and the other. It's like, mate, I'm doing this shit face most of the time, and fucking, yeah, do you know how hard it has been throughout this entire fucking thing to sit there and, like, switch between modes? Like, so there's this camera position, and then there's the other one where it fucking shuffle shit around and fucking all of a sudden the door's on the other side of me. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like I'm pulling this off while I'm drunk, alright? Cut me some fucking slack. And don't expect me to spend fucking $2,000 on a fucking fancy ass microphone and camera. Fuck you. Pissed myself a little bit there. And actually, one thing really quickly. It wasn't the 7th Regiment of Foot. It was the 102nd Regiment of Foot that was the original one. But anyway, yeah. So they ended up getting replaced with another military regiment, and fucking. So there was originally going to be this bloke named fucking Nightingale or whatever. But he basically fell ill before departure, and it was fucking Major General Lachlan Macquarie that actually ended up coming to take over, because England they'd had enough of this whole fucking situation. Like, a military coup took place at their colony. They were fed up. So send him over basically to pick up Bligh, send him home, and then fucking also take Major George Johnson home for court-martial. And MacArthur himself would be tried in court in Sydney. So basically everyone involved was just like, nah, fuck is all. Like, because again, Bligh was also charged over his involvement with the whole thing. Like, it was one of those whole they're all as bad as each other. And Macquarie, one of the last things he also did was fucking, like, he reinstated like a bunch of the officials that, like, little minor sort of positions that had been fucking that are taken by fucking Johnson and MacArthur at the time. And he also replaced the the pisshead that was Richard Atkins with, a bloke by the name of Ellis Bent. And like he was actually like the first like actual lawyer to have that kind of judge advocate role in Australia. It's like it took him that fucking long to so he was the first one that was actually remotely qualified for the job. Like yeah, so Macquarie, his whole thing was, cleaning up the mess that all of these people had fucking created. And yeah. That's the story of the first ever coup d'etat in our fucking country. Yeah. I'm sorry, but like my favorite moment in there will always be is like, pull your fucking head in, cunt. With the whole fucking firing of the bow, fucking, and then him being the one that gets sent back to fucking England for court martial and just gets fucking thrown under the bus. It's like poor Captain Short and all this. The one bloke who actually was like, from the get go was like, nah, I'm just doing my job and this cunt's not fucking listening. And it's just like fucking, didn't try and fucking take advantage or anything, this, that, and the other. No, he just got the raw end of the fucking stick from the get-go. And then, yeah, Major General George, fucking Lachlan Macquarie having to come in and clean up the fucking mess. Like, oh, these idiots, what have they done to this colony? But, yeah, so his aftermath when he came in, he also realised some of the ways that Bligh had really fucked up, like all the road infrastructure and shit like that had just been neglected the whole time, and so he spent a good fair time as governor fucking clearing up all of that. And yeah, like, ugh. And just, in case you're wondering, all those cuts is me relighting my cigarette and refilling my fucking drink, because, yeah, like, oh, the Rum Rebellion. Oh. I mean, like, it's not the only time that we've come close to, like, full-on, like, anarchy or, like, civil conflict and whatnot in this country. It's just the first time and the only time an actual military coup has occurred. There are other ones, like, in the 1930s, there was the Jack Lang dismissal, which is, like, we almost ended up in a civil war. And then there's also, before that, in the, the gold rush days in Ballarat, the Eureka Stockade, but that was more like a small-scale rebellion, not like a military coup. Yeah, so the Rum Rebellion name never really made sense to me. It's more, I like to think of it as the Pissheads coup, or the Pissheads coup d'etat, like, because, yeah, like, it wasn't really a rebellion. It was a bunch of fucking pissheads getting angry at each other and basically just swearing fuck you in like formal letters to each other before one of them cracked the shits, got his mates together and were like, no, get out of that fucking house. You're under arrest. Like, that's the fucking colonial days of Australia for you. Fucking cheers. Have a good one. Waltzing Matilda, I'll fucking kill ya if you don't like and subscribe, you fucking cunt. Fucking, I don't know why you would, but fucking yeah. Nah, but in all seriousness, here's to Captain Joseph Short of the fucking HMS Porpoise. That man was a fucking legend. As far as I'm concerned, he genuinely was a legend. Because, like, he got the raw end of the fucking stick. And that's most Australians in this day and age. We cop the raw end of the stick with all this fucking corporate bullshit and fucking, with these few... You know what, I'm not even going to cut with these jets flying over fucking this time around. Like, this is the outro. Why not? But yeah, like, we get the raw end of the stick. Like, we get those rare few moments for like 3 to 6 years where the fucking, the Workers' Party of this country is in power. And fucking shit can actually happen that, down the road will actually make our fucking lives a little bit better. But for the most part, it's just fucking corporate fucking interests that run this country. And fucking the rest of us get the raw end of the stick. So here's to that fucking OG motherfucker They got the raw end of the stick before that Rum Rebellion even fucking began. Like, to Captain Jonathan Short. Joseph, fuck. You see why I had notes. Like, here's to Joseph Short, captain of the Porpoise. Oh, actually, really quickly, funnily enough, the ship that fucking Blair cunt was actually marooned on, that fucking left out near fucking Tasmania of all places, that was the Porpoise. It was the same fucking ship that fired across his bow because he wouldn't pull his fucking head in. Like, but yeah. Anyway. Cheers, cunts.
So yeah, here's to the aftermath of the fucking Bacardi bottle in this video. I hope this has earned a like, a subscribe, and fucking all that other bullshit. Cheers. Oh, fuck me, Dad.